the lens formula. Now what is the lens formula? You see, we have learnt about mirror formulas. Okay, the mirror formula is what? 1 upon V. In the same way, we got 1 upon V minus 1 upon U is equal to 1 upon F. Okay, lens formula once again, 1 upon V minus 1 upon U. Here in the mirror formula it is plus sign, in the lens formula it is minus sign. Okay, now if I want to find out image, where U is what? U is image distance. This is image distance. V is image distance, sorry. U is object distance. V is of course image distance. Remember that this is V. U is object distance and F is focal length. Now focal length for convex and concave lenses. For a concave lens, focal, you see the signs of convention. If you look at the signs of convention, just let us discuss this also. Signs of convention. The signs of convention are also the same signs of convention. But remember one thing, in the signs of convention, you should also remember one thing, that in F for the focal length of a concave lens. For a concave lens, it is always negative, and focal length of a convex lens is always positive. Okay, no other difference, same as before. Okay, whether it is a mirror or lens, the signs of convention are always the same. If you take the principal axis this way, this is your y-axis, okay, and this is your x-axis, this is your origin. Okay, now distance is on this side. When they are measured on this side, they are always taken as, when you measure from the pole of the lens. So if you measure on this side, it is always taken as negative. If it is measured on this side, it is taken as positive. So U, that is object distance will always be negative, because it is always, the object is always on this side, so it will always be negative. The image may be formed on this side or on this side. If the image is formed on this side, then it will be positive image distance. If the image is formed on this side, it would be negative. Other than that, there are no differences. What you must memorize is focal length of a concave lens is negative, focal length of a convex lens is positive. Alright, other than this, there are no other changes that are required for signs of convention and the lens formula. In the lens formula, this is a negative sign. In the mirror formula, see the mirror formula, if you look at it carefully, the mirror formula is 1 upon V plus 1 upon U is equal to 1 upon F. The only difference is the negative sign. In the lens formula, there is a negative sign. In the mirror formula, there is a positive sign. Alright, now let us also discuss magnification. Magnification, okay, magnification of a lens. For a lens and for a mirror, we'll discuss side by side, so you know the difference between them. Okay, magnification, there are two formulas for a lens. Magnification M is equal to H dash upon H. H dash is actually the height of the image, H is the height of the object. For a mirror, it is also the same. Magnification is H dash upon H. But the second formula, there is a small difference when it comes to object distance and image distance. And here magnification is equal to V upon U. So for a mirror it is minus, for a lens it is plus. Just remember, there is no need to put the plus sign. It is understood that it is plus, but the negative sign should be there for a mirror. So for a mirror, magnification, if you want to find, minus V upon U. For a lens, it is V upon U. There is no negative sign out here, it will be plus sign. Then image distance, or rather image, height of the image and height of the object, M is equal to H dash upon H, M is equal to H dash upon H. For both it is the same, for lens and for mirror. Magnification is what? Magnification can be defined as the height, as the ratio of the height of the image upon height of the object. Okay, h dash is height of the, h dash is height of image, height of image. Okay, and h is height of object. The ratio of these two is called magnification. All right, so that is about magnification of an object, and how lens, and both lens formula as well as formulas about magnification when it comes to ratio of the heights and ratio, both are important. It's necessary that you learn both carefully, otherwise you will end up not being able to solve numericals. In physics, numericals are extremely important, and for that you got to understand that when you solve numericals, the ratio of the height of image and height of object is also important, and you have to learn how those are done. All right, then the other one is all right, once again, see, image formation. I just want to discuss this once again. There was a slight mistake. I want to correct that mistake. That first one was at infinity. Okay, we had discussed this at infinity. Just let us just make sure once again. I want to just repeat this because I may have made a mistake while explaining. Just here. Okay, let us suppose this is the center. I had a slight doubt about the lens. Okay, so let us suppose this is your lens. Okay, and this is the center. Let us also mark the distances. Okay, and 12 and 16. I have taken 4 centimeters on all the sides. So this is f1, this is f2. All right, this is twice f1, this is twice f2. This is the center. Okay, this can also be called C1, this can also be called C2. Now when it is at infinity, the diagram which I had just drawn just now, it is correct, there is nothing wrong with it, but just to, there is a small error in that, a small mistake which I want to just correct it. All right, see, now from this point they will be reflected back. Okay, so when you reflect it back, the rays of light will actually go in which direction? You see, when they are reflected, they go through the lens and go in this direction, but the direction would be slightly different. You see the dotted line would come on this side and the reflected ray would be this way. A small correction is there, so just make sure here. The same thing here also. Okay, the reflected ray this way, it will be reflected in this direction, and the dotted line on this side. Okay, so here the image is formed on this side. This was my mistake, I'll just correct it. So you can see now the rays of light are diverging. Okay, that diagram which I showed you in the beginning was when if it reflection takes place for a mirror, but this is for a lens. So just be careful about this. Now the rays of light are meeting on this side. So yes, it is a virtual image. Okay, the image is virtual, erect, and diminished. Diminished means it is point like. The description is fine, there is no point here. Okay, point like, it is like a point. This part is okay, this is also okay. Just make sure the reflection is on the same side. Refraction, the rays of light travel through the lens. In the earlier diagram, I did not allow the lens to travel through it, and the rays of light must travel through it, and then they do not meet. You see, they are extending this way. One ray of light is going this way and this is going this way. That is why it is called a diverging lens. Okay, a diverging lens, because the rays of light are diverging. But in reality, when they are extended back, they will meet here, and at this point a small image will be formed here. And in the second case also, at any point, okay, at any point, we can take it at any point beyond C, beyond on one side. Okay, so let us just suppose the same thing here. Now make the principal axis. Okay, Again, I'm making a dotted line just to make the center of the lens this way. Now draw the lens. If you can use a rounder, I will show you tomorrow how to use a rounder also in both cases. Okay, these are curved surfaces. Now I'm taking equal distances from the pole. Again, I'm taking 4 centimeters because it is easier. It is neither too much nor too small. Okay, 4, 4, and again on this side 4, and here 4. Okay, so equal distances. This is your pole. This is F1. This is F2. This is twice F1 or C1. This is twice F2 or C2. Again, now let us place the object out here. Okay, the object is placed here. When you place the object, this object is AB. You can place it anywhere on this side, even beyond C. One ray of light, okay, one ray of light will go this way, and then it will pass through the lens. In the earlier mistake which I made, I did not allow the rays of light to pass through the lens. Now you see, they pass through the lens and come out on the other side this way, but they do not meet. You see, this is when it is reflected backwards, and the other ray of light, okay, it passes through the center of curvature. Rather, it passes through the vertex, and then it goes this way on the other side. Okay, this way. Now here they meet here at this point. An image is formed here, A dash, B dash. The image is formed here, and you can see it is erect. So this description is okay, there is no problem here. The image is not real, it is virtual. It is virtual, and because it is virtual, it is erect and diminished. But it is not like a point. It is smaller, diminished, but it is not like a point. In this case, it was like point like. Okay. Now you can see it is small and on the same side. On the same side. Not on the opposite side, on the same side. So once again, a little correction was there, and that's why I did it again. Okay. Image formation by a concave mirror. Okay, concave lens, sorry, a concave lens. Okay, there are only two positions: at infinity, at any point. Okay, beyond the center of curvature or between center and focus. You can place it anywhere. The image will always be virtual, it will always be erect, and it will be diminished. How is it formed? One ray of light is going parallel to the principal axis, and it goes through the lens. But because it is a concave lens, it is a diverging lens. The rays diverge. Extend it backwards with a dotted line. One ray of light goes straight through the center of the lens. When a ray of light goes through the center of the lens, it passes straight through and through without bending. Okay, so where the two rays of light meet, an image is formed here. So image formation by a concave lens is also important to understand how this image is formed. Which rays, two rays of light are always taken to form the image. So we have studied about image formation, magnification, and lens formula. All right. Now, and yesterday we studied about also how it is important to understand the glass slab experiment. Glass slab experiment is extremely important. All right. Now, lenses. We know that we use generally, you see, lenses have their own uses. Uses of lenses. The most important use of lens is that in correcting vision. In correcting vision. You see, there are two types of problems which you will study in the next chapter, vision problems. One is nearsightedness. Nearsightedness. Nearsightedness in scientific language is called myopia. And the other one is farsightedness. Farsightedness is, in scientific language, it is called hypermetropia. Hypermetropia. Okay. Nearsightedness, farsightedness. What is the meaning of myopia or nearsightedness? This is mostly seen in younger people. Okay. This is seen in younger people, and this is seen generally in older people. Okay. These we often call as reading glasses, for reading. Okay. And this is for distance vision. For distance. That means people who are nearsighted can see nearby objects very clearly. They don't require reading glasses, but they cannot see very far very clearly. So for that, correcting that vision, nearsightedness, we use what is called a concave lens. A concave lens is used because a concave lens is a diverging lens. Okay, concave lens is used for correcting vision of nearsightedness. And far-sightedness, that means those people can see far off objects quite clearly, but when it comes to nearby objects, reading glasses they require, and for such they use what is called a convex lens, a converging lens. A convex lens is used to correct such vision. So these are uses of lenses. Of course, they can also be used in astronomical telescopes, astronomy. Okay, in astronomy they use to make telescopes. And in the medical field, lenses can also be used to make microscopes. They can be used to make microscopes, and also camera lenses. You see, camera lenses, all of us are using mobile phones, smartphone. Most of the smartphones have cameras these days. They use a combination of lenses. Sometimes they use a combination of lenses to get a clearer, better image. Now why is that? Now there is another property of lens that we need to study, and that is called power of a lens. Power of a lens. All right, now what is power of a lens? You see, the power of a lens is defined as the reciprocal of its focal length. Reciprocal of its focal length. So P is equal to 1 upon F, where F should be mentioned in meters. If F is mentioned in meters, then power is measured in diopters. D-I-O-P-T-R-E-S, diopters. So one diopter is equal to 1 meter to the power minus 1. Why minus 1? Because it is reciprocal of focal length. So that means if the power of the lens is 1 diopter, its focal length will be 1 meter. Okay. So whenever you want to, for example, let us take an example. What is the power of a lens of focal length 2.5 meters. Let us suppose focal length of the lens is 2.5 meters, and let us suppose this is a concave lens. Okay, now for a concave lens the focal length is always negative. Okay, so therefore F is equal to minus 2.5 meters. Okay, power we want to find, question mark. Now formula is power is equal to 1 upon F. So 1 upon minus 2.5. Okay, so that is equal to minus, make it 10 upon 25. Okay, 10 upon 25. So that means I get minus 5 2s are 10, 5 5s are 25. Okay, if you want to convert to just a simple numerical form, okay, you want to convert to a decimal form. So minus 5 5s are 25, 5 2s are 10, minus 0.20, okay, will be 0.4, and this is diopters. Because why? Because the power of a lens is always measured in diopters, but the focal length must be given in meters. If it is not given in meters, you have to convert to meters. For example, if focal length were 50 centimeters, then you have to convert 50 centimeters into meters. 50 centimeters means half a meter. Convert into that and calculate, and you get 0.4 meters. That means the power of this lens is minus 0.4 diopters. So power of a lens is different. Okay, it is based on the converging power or diverging power of a lens. Okay, so focal length is important. When focal length is large, its diverging power is less. When focal length is more, its converging power is less. So it depends upon, that means the converging power or the diverging power of a lens depends upon its focal length. Alright, enough for today. Make sure that you watch this video carefully, and also after watching the video you should read the textbook. If you read the textbook, you will understand it better after I have explained this. Okay, have a nice day.